So, the other day I fell down the Netflix rabbit hole and I somehow landed on Hip Hop Evolution, a Canadian documentary that originally aired on HBO Canada. It breaks down the earliest days of hip-hop and some of the biggest names in the genre like Run DMC, Eminem, and Puff Daddy. In the second episode of the second season, they spoke on the rise and fall of MC Hammer. You remember MC Hammer, right? Old famous rapper, shiny pants with the saggy crotch, can't touch this. After selling over 50 million albums worldwide, MC Hammer had reached levels of success no other rapper had at the time. He peaked at a net worth of about 70 million, but with inflation, today that would be over $100 million. He was set for life. He was actually so set for life that he went on to buy a bunch of important, useful necessities such as dozens of luxury cars, prized racehorses, multiple helicopters, a private jet, and a $40 million estate with solid gold accents on the front gates. Inside the 40,000 square foot mansion, you would have found hundreds of employed staff members, a bowling alley, basketball court, 17-car garage, a gold hot tub, and marble statues of himself. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. Back to Netflix. After seeing this animated title card, suddenly my brain went on a quick nostalgia trip. MC Hammer was a cartoon before, right? Nah, I must have made that shit up, right? I dreamt that? There's no way my brain concocted that foolishness on its own. Well, when in doubt. I knew it! Hammerman! Off the top, I remembered zero about this cartoon. Now, I did some research and watched the episodes, so let's get into it. Hammerman was a Saturday morning cartoon made for the ABC network. It ran for a total of 13 episodes in the fall of 1991. The show revolves around a youth center worker named Stanley, which is MC Hammer's real name. He owns a pair of magical shoes, and once he puts them on, he morphs from Stanley into Hammerman!
It's Hammer!
So, all of the episodes start with MC Hammer hanging out on the porch with his underage friends. Every week, there's a focus on a different social issue: bullying, graffiti, drugs, and dropping out of school, just to name a few. He explains to the kids why that social issue is bad and why they should never do it. He then tells them to sit still and watch the upcoming episode of Hammerman, which will definitely be an episode about said social issue. The kids get so excited they can hardly contain themselves, and they bust a move and they start dancing. And then we get into the intro.
Hammerman, Hammerman, Hammer. Whenever there's a crime, some crooks are gonna do time. They giving magical shoes from a hip-hop Motown dude. Together they had power. They stood up for what was right. But Gramps was the load. They met a guy named Stanley who was dancing every night. He helped the kids play every day. His heart was out of sight. So Gramps opened up the bag and took out...
An hour later, when the theme song is finally finished, we get into the actual cartoon. The first thing you're gonna notice is the extremely low-budget animation. Now, I get it. Animation wasn't the greatest in the 90s, but that excuse doesn't work here. By this time, we already had shows like DuckTales and Tiny Toon Adventures. There's no reason on earth for a show to look like this. It's weird, and the jarring movement kind of hurts my eyes. Everything seems to move at like 7 frames per second. You had $70 million. Why in the f*** wouldn't you pay for better animators, you cheapskate? Your name and likeness is all over this product. The title is literally your name.
I'd be mortified if someone ever made a lousy product with the Simpson name on it.
We're then introduced to the main plot. One of his little youth group buddies are usually in some type of distress. Then a bad guy comes along to take advantage of the kid. Stanley then slips away and morphs into Hammerman. Hammer then defeats the bad guy in the most outlandish way thinkable. Then the episode ends with the child feeling better about himself. But before it wraps up for good, it flashes back to MC Hammer and the kids on the porch. He explains the moral of the episode they just sat through, just in case the kids were too stupid to comprehend it. The end. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I have no faith in this show whatsoever. It's a cartoon about the can't touch this guy. How f***ing good could it possibly be? But let's keep an open mind as we check out a few episodes to see if Hammerman has any true potential. Nobody's perfect. In this episode, we see Stanley cooking dinner, and his shoes are helping him? Who would eat food created by a f***ing shoe? Not me. Gramps tells Stanley a truck exploded and a bridge is about to collapse. Stanley says, go away, I have dinner plans with my family. But Gramps forces him to go and save the city. Stan morphs into Hammerman and heads over to the scene. Now, I want you to guess, how does he save the people trapped on the collapsing bridge? Does he A. Put everyone on his back and fly to safety? B. Use super strength to lift the bridge to a safe location? Or C. Snap his fingers, which create a strong rope of magical music notes that extend several hundreds of meters, looping around and reinforcing the damaged pillars while rapping?
The suspensions are set in effect, but please excuse me because I got to jet.
Of course, the correct answer is C. He saves the day, then heads back for the family dinner, which he is now late for. Stanley's mom yells at him for being stereotypically late. She then praises his brother Maurice for being perfect. While giving his family a tour of the rec center, Gramps shows up and tells Stanley the bridge wasn't repaired properly. We even see a bus full of children tragically tumble into the lake, killing everyone on board. Stan morphs into Hammerman. Now, you'd think he would try a different approach since his music note rope didn't work the first time around, but no. He just does it again. Stanley meets with his family again. Turns out Maurice is so perfect, he just created an invention that destroys anything that isn't perfect. He named it Creepo. Creepo? Why would you name something you spent your time on? Something you love and created? Creepo? That's like me having a baby and walking down the street, and when a stranger sees me, they say, "Oh, that's such a cute little baby you created there. What's his name? Oh, this here is head. So Creepo goes around killing things that aren't perfect. He then sets eyes on Stanley's less than perfect mom and attempts to kill her.
You must not interfere with perfection.
Put me down, you silly robot! Put me down! Stop! Help! Oh! Help!
Whoa, that's pretty dark for a kid's cartoon. That's even darker than that one episode of Simpsons I seen way back.
I've got a surprise for you. Okay, open your eyes.
So Stanley chokes the robot unconscious. The three then go out for food and drinks to celebrate. Creepo awakens and goes around town torturing other humans with imperfections. After the machine tries to kill another family member, Stanley's had enough and morphs into Hammerman. The two get into a fight, but then Creepo recognizes that Hammerman is perfect. Perfect raps, perfect dancing, excellent posture, good with money. He's perfect. The crowd votes perfect 10s for his performance. Creepo is a hater, so he gives the dance moves a 9.9, thus meaning Hammerman is not perfect and must be destroyed. But before he can kill Hammer, he gets tired, or his batteries die or something. I don't know.
I am perfect. You are imperfect. I am perfect.
Hasta la vista.
Creepo is officially dead. Perfect. Defeated graffiti. A librarian is about to be burned alive as we see fire slowly dancing in a conga line towards the woman. Hammerman jumps from roof to roof as if he's fucking Spider-Man or something. He lands on a building and begins to get jiggy with it. Look at this. Look at this sad attempt of a dance. He's just quickly gyrating his shoulders. So quickly the camera can't even keep up with his fly moves. Look at this shit. He's moving at like 5 frames per second. He descends downward and saves the lady by grabbing her tits. Yeah, Hammer, you little perv, I caught that. Tits. The librarian is safe, but the library is still on fire. Now, I want you to guess. No, seriously. Just guess how he puts the fire out. Does he A, grab the fire hose and spray it? B, break a fire hydrant causing the water to put it out? Or C, tap dance at such an elite level that he summons living music notes who then find and hijack a water tower? You know the answer is C. You know it is. Come on. After the fire is extinguished, everyone cheers and Hammerman waddles away from the scene. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Jody and Winnie flooded the apartment, so Jody runs away like a coward. She goes outside where a local punk named Joker is caught graffitiing the side of her building.
You wanna try? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. What's the matter? You can't draw? Huh. Of course I can draw. Just check this out, homie.
Reverse psychology at its finest, or Jody is simply not that bright. The evil Mr. Marmeister sees how unintelligent Jody is and tricks her into graffitiing the whole city. So the dumbass heads off to paint the town. Marmeister then reveals his paint potion, which turns paintings into real beings. Back at the apartment, Stanley has just taken care of the flood the coward ran away from. He then heads out but leaves his shoes because he grabs the wrong bag. He bumps into this evil fire monster. Stanley is a snitch, so he calls the cops. Marmeister says he hates snitches and he kidnaps Stanley. Not having access to his magic shoes, the fire monster gets the best of him. The villain attempts to turn Stanley into nothing more than a piece of graffiti. Jody and Gramps show up and save Stanley. Stanley somehow knows exactly where his bag is and runs to go get it. Now, having his magic shoes, he morphs into Hammerman!
It's Hamilton.
We then see a montage of Hammer attacking a bunch of paint monsters while Can't Touch This plays in the background. You can't make this shit up. And just when you thought you've seen it all, he then fights the graffiti, beats them down, and turns them into a fucking rainbow. Feeling desperate, Marmeister snatches Jody and runs to the closest building. While his back is turned, she draws a police officer which comes to life to arrest the evil genius. Like I said before, Marmeister hates snitches, so he tries to kill her by throwing her over the balcony. But unfortunately, Hammerman is there to save her. Jody learns her lesson and cleans up all the graffiti around town. Rapolian. This time we start off with this short guy named Rapolian, claiming to be the best rapper in the world. He's just afraid nobody will take his bars serious because of his height. He sends his assistant, Dr. Stretch, to find a way to make him tall. We cut to Jody, who wants to go to a basketball game. Stanley and Gramps tell her no, she's not big enough yet. She's so mad about being small that she becomes a rapper and drops a hot 16.
All I want's respect, responsibility. To stay up late past 9 o'clock, to talk when all the grown-ups talk, to drive a car instead of walk. Oh, man, I gotta be big!
Dr. Stretch comes back with a potion that'll make Rapolian big. There's one little issue though. It's missing one ingredient. The hair of a musical superhero. Of course. What are the odds? So now, Rapolian must kill Hammerman and skin his scalp for his hair. Well, either that or pluck a hair from his head and leave him alive. I just thought the first option would make for better TV. Jody tries to stay up late to watch the basketball game on TV, but Gramps says she's young and must be in bed by 9 p.m. Rapolian, being prejudiced against the tall, crashes the ball game and starts to destroy the arena. Stanley is watching the attack live from his living room and decides to morph into Hammerman! I'm led to believe he magically teleports to the arena because he just shows up there. No travel scene, no explanation, just shows up. Hammerman starts fighting these jackasses on jackhammers. He gets his ass handed to him and Napoleon steals some of his precious hair. Napoleon quickly drives away from the scene of the crime. Jody magically appears and uses her bike to somehow keep up with the vehicle. Jody must be strong as shit because she uses her bare hands to climb the exterior walls of Napoleon's lair. She gets spotted and almost falls to her death, but one of the stooges catch her and then bring her in for interrogation. After talking for a bit, Rap and Jody realize they actually have a lot in common. They hate being small. They hate being told they're not big enough. They hate getting the short end of the stick. Their shared hatred for being small causes them to break out into a spontaneous song and dance. Oh, don't you just love it when that happens?
Big is well, sir. Big is what you need. Life ain't cool when you are small. You're lucky to get seen at all and not get stepped on by someone tall. Sucker it.
All I want's respect, responsibility. To stay up late past 9 o'clock to talk when all the grown-ups talk, to drive a car instead of walk.
Coming back to her senses, Jody realizes she is rapping with the ops. She asks Napoleon why he was fighting Hammerman. He explains he simply needed it for the Get Big formula. Dr. Stretch applies the potion to Napoleon, but it fails. It actually does the opposite. It makes everything tiny. Rap now threatens to shrink the whole city. He hops in his plane and starts spraying pink shrinking fumes everywhere. Stanley and Gramps get shrunk, then the city gets shrunk, Dr. Stretch gets shrunk, and Napoleon puts the city in a snow globe. Jody, acting like she's in a GTA game, decides to steal the plane. Too young to stay up late, but old enough to fly a fucking plane. She fights off the jackasses, steals the snow globe, and runs off with thousands of lives in her hands. Dr. Stretch says he needs a hair from Napoleon to make a reverse antidote, so Stanley morphs.
It's Hammer time!
Hammer escapes the snow globe and gets into a fight with Napoleon. He beats him up, climbs his head, and steals some hair. Hammer gets the hair back to the doctor and the antidote is created. Now, Hammer is back to regular size. Time for the big showdown between Napoleon and Hammerman. Time for the final pop quiz. Tell me, how do you think Hammerman defeats Napoleon? Does he A. Put him in jail, B. Send him to a psychiatrist to get help, or C. Summon a bunch of musical notes that magically morph into a pack of dogs that bark so loud that an earthquake occurs? It's actually A this time. He just simply puts him in jail. Napoleon is in jail. Jody gets yelled at for sneaking out to rap with the rival gang. Hammer runs off screen to change his clothes, comes back, and nobody notices. The end. This show is the butt of a lot of jokes on the internet, and it's notoriously portrayed as being one of the worst cartoons ever made. But after doing all my research and watching a bunch of the episodes, I ask, is Hammerman really all that bad? I can't even say that shit with a straight face, man. It's pretty fucking bad. It's pretty bad, man. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give the series a recommendation rating of 3. It's animated horribly and the storylines are ridiculous, but somewhere deep down in there, you'll find a bit of charm. It's extremely rare and should be treasured before it permanently becomes lost media. And that's it for today, guys. If you're still watching, I consider you my people, and I appreciate you. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and consider subscribing. I have a bunch of other videos you might find interesting. Until next time, stay safe, chase your dreams, and don't forget, do what you love. I am the Doctor, signing out. Gimme my music. I move in the nighttime, shit, everything I do in the nighttime. Make 1 turn 2 in the nighttime. Zoom from that bright light, move by my right side. Crew in the spot and it's like 2 o'clock. Wrist never been in cuffs, evident.